just how kids get these ideas. Too many horror shows on TV, I say.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
My name is Zamy Baumüller. I'm from Mexico, well, Monterrey, Mexico. Anna, we actually got to speak last year. I don't know if you remember me with
Yes,
Francesca.
absolutely. It's so good to see you
How are you
again.
guys feeling? Galilea, it's nice to meet you. How are you guys feeling?
Súper bien, súper
Ah,
emocionada.
hablan español las dos.
Sí.
For me, Galilea is brilliant in Spanish. Mine is no very good looking.
Let's talk about Goosebumps. I mean, this season two is out. It's a series of books, movies, and now shows, but I want to channel this time more like the behind the scenes of it all. Because we know, I mean, with horror, you get to work with a bunch of great technologies and special effects, but that must be like interesting to play, like as in playing your character, like defining your role with all these effects around. How is that like?
I mean, it was so cool for me because I've never gotten to do anything like this before with the special effects and sort of the running and screaming and the stunt driving and the creepy places that we were shooting. And I think it definitely, I mean, just shooting in New York on the streets of New York informed
Yeah.
my character and who I was, what my relationship is to that city and to sort of, what that brings, but also just seeing the special effects of it all. Galilea and I were laughing because there was a day on set where David Schwimmer had like, an eyeball like
Yeah.
hanging off of his face, and he's like walking around the lunchroom. And so, like you're sort of like, what's happening? Like, what planet am I on? He's getting his like Caesar salad and there's like blood and guts hanging out of his face. Like it was so cool. I hope that, horror is such a cool genre that I hope I hope I would love to keep doing more stuff like that because it was really cool.
I mean, it sounds a lot of fun. What about you, Galilea? Any favorite memories with dealing with special effects?
Every time I got to like shoot a scene where there were special effects, it was always the coolest thing. Um, I think Frankie had a really kind of intense scene with this monster, which really like it was something that really like meant a lot to her. So that was really fun to play just because of like the emotional aspect to it. But there was also these like people dressed all in black and they had these like arm stilts and they were charging at you at full speed and
Yeah,
that was
they were scary.
so scary. They didn't even use the CGI. Like it was insane. And like Anna said, just walking onto set and seeing random props and random David
Like plants and
on
stuff.
the table and just oh, like what are we doing? This is fun. This is a crazy job to have.
That's awesome. I feel like that sounds like you have so many anecdotes for in the future. So would you say dealing with all these special effects changed the way you approach your performance with your characters? Like not having them there and then being like, oh, well, I have to pretend like I have this huge thing, supernatural coming at me or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were very blessed to have a cast that really went all in. You know, Anna and I were talking about this that like not one of us were like, oh, like this is dumb. Like we're not gonna like pretend that there's a monster. You know what I mean? Like this is so
Yeah.
cool. The fact that this is our job and just the fact that we can play pretend and we can say, oh my God, we're about to die and take it so seriously as an actor. It's so fun and it's such a privilege to get to do that. So
Yeah, I think like everybody really committed to it. And it's exactly what Galilea was just saying. It's like you get to be a kid again and just pretend, that there's this huge monster running after you. And like you really, I mean, I think all of acting is that like really have to get into your like instincts. And so to be able to play like that and to be able to have this particular ensemble of actors who luckily were all equally committed. Even David
Hmm.
Schwimmer you know, who you would expect. He's just so committed, right, Gali? He's like so into it. Like you can't sort of deny it when you have him, you know, he's the lead, and he's just, man, he was so committed and so into it and so like gung-ho that I think, you know, it was just all of us were like, all right, this is what it is. Let's do it.
I love that. And I mean, speaking of David and all your other co-stars, was there any time that like when you first arrived on set and like we're doing this, we're filming a season, that you felt like starstruck or were like, oh my God, I hope I have a scene with you, or just moments like that with your cast members?
Yeah, I mean, getting to work with David and Anna both, like I was so like, you know, I was very familiar with their work beforehand, and so I was just like, this is crazy. But they're just it's insane. They're so down to earth and just very genuine people and just very pleasant and treat you as an equal, which is something always, you know, good. But I remember that I think it was the first day on set, and it was the first time I saw like David Schwimmer just pass by, and he's like, hi, nice to meet you. And I was like, hello, man. I have seen like Friends like 7 times. Oh, this is great. I can't believe that you're real. So
I love that. What about you, Anna?
Oh, I think, yeah, I mean, definitely meeting David was intimidating for sure. And most of my scenes are with him. In fact, I mean, I think almost all of my scenes are with him. And so it was super intimidating, but the wonderful thing about him, and I think all of these actors too, is that he just was so excited to be there, and he as excited as we were, and he was so just normal and like, you know, we talked about our kids and, you know, theater, like he's a big theater geek, which is amazing. He's this, you know, he's like a city kid. And we were all super stoked that we got to shoot in the city, in places that you know, a lot of people don't know about. Even me, as a native born and raised New Yorker, we were in places I've never even seen. So so I think just seeing him be so sort of like geeked out and excited like we all were was a real like, okay, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Sounds like you had so much fun. And again, meaning having to work with David, I mean, I can't imagine. Galilea, I'm pretty sure I've watched Friends like more than 7 times, all 10 seasons. But to wrap this up, was there any particular scene that you were most excited about filming, whether it was horror or special effects or just emotional? Like, what do you say, what was your favorite scene to shoot that you were like, this show is like, this season really got to me. This is gonna, like, I'm gonna carry it in my heart forever.
For me, it was definitely like special effects horror stuff, because I've not ever been able to do that. I've been at this a long time, and I've never sort of had that opportunity. I got to have a weapon, and I think for me it was the whole scene where we're figuring everything out. The monster comes to life in front of us. We're being chased by it. We're shooting it. We're running. I'm doing stunt driving with David in the car, which by the way was a hilarious moment in and of itself, because I know he thought I was going to kill him and drive us both into the river. But like, so, you know, so that for me, you know, just sort of, you know, screaming and running and having these like guns and jumping in cars and, you know, leaping over furniture like that, and running through these tunnels, you know, was for me just a dream come true.
yeah,
What
no,
about you, Gally?
I definitely agree. I mean, I think the genre, just like horror and action, it's like it's very physical as well, and it's a real change from other genres. I feel like sometimes you just, you know, stand on this mark, stand on that mark, and it kind of feel very static. And what I loved about this is that, like Anna said, we were running, we were like exploring the city, and it just, you almost like forgot that there was a camera there just because you were so immersed in New York and in the world, which is something that I really love. I remember there was like it was a very simple scene. We just like we were running from a monster, and then the monsters kind of like circle us, and we're back to back, and then something happens. I'm not gonna spoil it, but but I remember that was like a night shoot. It was 5 a.m. and we were just running, like bolting down this street, and these like people in arm stilts were just like coming at us. I was genuinely scared.
Yeah.
This was terrifying. But I remember just feeling like so free, if that makes any sense. Just like, wow, like this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're in New York at 5 a.m. and all these crazy things coming at you. You're like, oh wow, I'm probably good. This is gonna go in the books. Like
cool lighting and like fog machines, and everything was like so like eerie.
Yeah. I also think and I don't know, I think Gali and I have talked about this a bit, but I think also just being Latin and in this genre, and like I never get to see us represented in it really, even though we're the ones, our Latinos are the biggest audience for horror, and like but we never really see. I think Gali, like we're always sort of like the girlfriend or the one in distress, or it's like always the most, all the emotions, and which is great. And I love it. I'm not bagging it. But like the fact that we get to sort of be here now in this genre and representing, and, I thought that was really, really cool too.
Yeah, and like you said, Latinas can scream as loud or maybe louder than everybody else. Snaps to that. I mean, that's it on my part. I loved having out with y'all guys. It was so much fun. I feel like I'm gonna take some memories and watch the show with like my friends and be like, okay, so this scene was 5 a.m. and there were weird things coming at you. Thank you so much for your time today. It was so nice to meet you, Gali. So nice to see you again, Anna.
You too,
And
so
I know
nice.
everyone's gonna love it. I mean, I'm excited for people to start tweeting about it. Like, did you see this? Did you see this?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Are you okay? Who knows how kids get these ideas? Too many horror shows on TV, I say.